We're live. Welcome to the stream. I'm Tommy, one half of 6' Pigeons. This is our daily demo series, building tracks from scratch, live. Like, comment, subscribe, hit the bell. Our music is on all platforms. Just search 6' Pigeons, and we have a full playlist of all of the demos in this series in the link in the description. Today's plan is simple. Start with samples in Splice, riff some vocals, build it out in Logic, production, mix, bounce. Let's get to it. What I have here on my left side of my screen is Splice, and what I have on the right is Logic. So let's go ahead and start out with the hip hop category here in Splice. Start jamming on some samples. See if we can find something we can riff on. No. Too goofy. Too boom bap. Too chaotic. Too soft. Maybe let's swap these drums out. What's up to everybody tuning in live? Surfing through Splice samples right now to get a beat going. We want to make sure we take our time with this part because what samples we pick are with us for the rest of this stream. So I'm gonna just keep rifling through until I find something that resonates with me. And then we'll customize. Okay, so this sample is cool. Probably could filter it, bring it down an octave. It is dominating, so for now I'm going to turn it down a little bit. Try some more keys. Add some percussion to the drums. Even more. Hey. So which is better? This here or this here? I think I like this one. It's a little more subtle. This one's a little too... Sounds good though. Hard to choose. Alright. Decision made. Okay, so it's definitely boom bap. I think we could spruce it up, make it a little bit more modern once we add our own elements. Just trying to grab a few more interesting percussion elements, maybe another musical element along the way, and then we'll start messing around with some vocals. I might just take the clap. I might remove the rest and just take the clap on that one. So let's save. Leave the stoop. Shout out Hey Arnold. Alright. Now, maybe some vocal samples. A little too busy. Almost. That sounds pretty good. Probably could bring that down an octave. Okay, so I think we can get some arrangement. Okay. Alright, so this is D minor 85 beats per minute. So now I'm going to go to Logic, bring it down to 85, and we're going to go to our vocal layer. We're going to put D minor on it. Alright. And now what I'm going to do, I'm going to switch my audio over. Switch it over. Hey, hey, hey. Switching over audio. Come on out, here we go. Wonder how long we know. Wonder how long we fall. Wonder so, if you didn't know. If you know, really know. Oh. Try it out, take it home. Come on, take it home. Come on, take it home. If you really know, then take it go. If you really know, let me roll. Okay, now alright, so now I'm gonna bring it into Logic. Okay, so now I'm going to just simplify the beat a little bit so I can record and improvise. Okay, let's go. If you really wanna, we could be on the yeah, we could leave a school, wanna be back on the road. Hey, if you really wanna, we could be on the hey, we could leave a school, back on tour if you really wanna go. Hey, we could really wanna, we could really wanna. Trying to find the melody and the words. So I'm gonna shorten the loop and I'm just gonna try to lock in that little first part.
Hey, if you really wanna, you could be back on the wall. Let's go. Hey, if you really gotta, you can go and open up off your chest. Hey, if you really wanna, we can be back on the wall. Let's go. Hey, if you really gotta, open up that's right. Hey, if you really wanna, we could be back on the wall. Let's go. Hey, if you really gotta, get it off your chest. Oh, no, that's right. Hey, if you really wanna, we can be back on the wall. Let's go. Hey, if you really gotta, get it off your chest. Oh, no, hey, if you really wanna, we can get back on the wall. And if you really gotta, get it off your chest. Oh, no, that's right. Hey, if you really wanna, we can be back on the wall. Let's go. And if you really gotta, get it off your chest. Oh, no, Morris. Hey, if you really wanna, we can
Let me see if that works.
we could be back on the wall. Let's go. And if you really gotta, get it off your chest. Oh, no, Morris. Hey, if you really wanna.
Let me try one more thing.
And if you really wanna, we could be back on the wall. Let's go. And if you really gotta, get it off your chest one time. I'm all in. And if you really wanna, we can be back on the wall. And if you really gotta, push your chips in. Let's go. I'm all in. And if you really wanna, we could be back on the wall. Let's go. And if you really gotta, push it on your chest.
Okay.
And if you really wanna, we could be back on the wall. Let's go. And if you really gotta, push on your chest.
Okay.
And if you really wanna, we can be back on the wall. Let's go. And if you really gotta, you can push your chips all in. I'm all in. And if you really wanna, you can put.
Okay, I'm trying to get the words of that last section. Let me double back real quick to this. Okay.
And if you really want, and if you really gotta, push it on your chest.
Okay.
And if you really gotta, you can push your chips on in right here. And if you really wanna, we can be back on the wall. Let's go. And if you really gotta, you can push your chips on in. I'm all in. And if you really wanna, we can put on the wall. Let's go. And if you really gotta, you can push your chips all in. I'm all in. And if you really wanna, we can go back on the wall. Let's go. And if you really gotta, you can push your chips all in. I'm all in. And if you really wanna, you can go back on the wall. Let's go. And if you really gotta, you can push your chips all in. I'm all in.
Okay, let's work with that.
And if you really wanna, you can go back on the wall. Let's go. And if you really gotta, you can push your chips all in. I'm all in. And if you really wanna, you can be back on the wall. Let's go. And if you really gotta, you can push your chips all in. I'm all in. And if you really wanna, you can go back on the wall. You can go back on the wall. Let's go. And if you really
Okay, I'm gonna maybe try flying in some vocal effects here. So the auto-tune is D minor. Let me try one of these chains that we already pre-made. Let's see what will sound good. Angelic lead, D minor.
let's go. And if you really gotta, you can push your chips all in. I'm all in. And if you really wanna, you can go back on the wall. Let's go. And if you really gotta. in, I'm all in. And if you really wanna, you can go.
Okay, let's double that and let's add some background improvisation. Let's go.
And if you really wanna, you can go back on the road. Let's go. And if you really gotta, you can push your chips all in, I'm all in. And if you really wanna, you can go back on the road. Let's go. And if you really gotta, you can push your chips all in, I'm all in.
All right, 1 second. Turn the gain up. Turn this down. Let's rock.
And if you really wanna, you can go back on the road. Let's go. And if you really gotta, you can push your chips all in, I'm all in. And if you really wanna, you can go back on the road. Let's go. And if you really gotta, you can push your chips all in, I'm all in. And if you really wanna, you can go back on the road. Let's go. And if you really gotta, push your chips all in, I'm all in. And if you really wanna, you can go back on the road. Let's go. And if you really gotta, you can push your chips all in, I'm all in. And if you really wanna, you can go back on the road. Let's go. And if you really gotta, you can push your chips all in, I'm all in. And if you
Okay, let's try this. Maybe we're gonna cut out every other.
And if you really wanna, you can go back on the road. Let's go. And if you really gotta, you can push your chip. And if you really wanna, if you wanna go back on the road. Let's go. And if you really gotta, you can push your chips all in, I'm all in. And if you really wanna, you can go back on the road.
Okay.
Let's go. And if you really gotta, you can push your chips all in, I'm all in. And if you really wanna, you can go back on the road. Let's go. And if you really gotta, and if you really wanna, you can go back on the road. Let's go. And if you really gotta, you can push your chips all in, I'm all in. And if you really wanna, you can go back on the road. Let's go. And if you really gotta, you can push your chips all in, I'm all in. And if you really wanna, you can go back on the road. Let's go. And if you really gotta, you can push your chips all in, I'm all in. And if you really wanna, you can go back on the road. Let's go. And if you really gotta, you can push your chips all in, I'm all in. And if you really wanna, you can go back on the road. Let's go. And if you really gotta, you can push your chips all in, I'm all in. And if you really wanna, you can go back on the road. Let's go. And if you really gotta, you can push your chips all in, I'm all in. And if you really
Okay, see how that's sounding?
And if you really wanna, you can go back on the road. Let's go. And if you really gotta, you can push your chips all in, I'm all in. And if you really wanna, you can go back.
Alright, so I'm gonna add one more radio layer right here. More ad-libs, more energy.
And if you really wanna, you can go back on the road. Let's go. And if you really gotta, you can push your chips all in, I'm all in. And if you really wanna, you can go back on the road. Let's go. And if you really gotta, you can push your chips all in, I'm all in. And if you really wanna, you can go back on the road. Let's go. And if you really gotta, you can push your chips all in,
adjust the loop real quick so it doesn't clip on the end. Let's go.
You can go back on the road. Get your legs go. And if you really got it, you can push your chips all in the morning. And if you really wanna, you can go back on the road. Get your legs go. And if you really got it, you can push your chips all in the morning. And if you really wanna, you can go back on the road. Get your legs go. And if you really got it, you can push your chips all in the morning. And if you really wanna, you can go back on the road. Get your legs go. And if you really got it, you can push your chips all in the morning. And if you really
Okay. Sounding good. So now, I'm switching back to my normal audio, and let's see what we're working with here.
wanna, you can go back on the road. Get your legs go. And if you really got it, you can push your chips all in the morning. And if you really wanna, you can go back on the road. Get your legs go. And if you really got it, you can push your chips all in the morning. Hey!
I'm gonna do one real quick, one additional quick layer. Just a shout right at the beginning, just to add some energy here. One moment. Let's do it. Okay, let me shorten the loop.
And if you really wanna, you can go back on the road. Let's go. And if you really wanna, you can go back on the road. Let's go. And if you really wanna, you can go back on the road. Get your legs go. And if you really wanna.
Okay, I think that one worked. Okay, here we go. Now we're gonna clip this, and we're gonna put this back up here, and we're business.
And if you really wanna, you can go back on the road. Get your legs go. And if you really wanna, you can go back
All right.
on the road. Get your legs go. And if you really
And so now what I'm gonna do, like I do usually with these background elements, is I'm gonna just add a little bit of panning, so it just feels like there's a little bit more space, like we got a whole team behind us, as opposed to just me doing layers. So let's see if we can do that with some of these layers here. And if you're with me live, go ahead and hit the chat. Let me know how it sounded so far. We're going to just flush out these vocals a little bit, and then we're going to get into really materializing this beat into something that's our own, and then we'll probably add some more vocals as we go.
And if you really wanna, you can go back on the road. Get your legs go. And if you really got it, you can push your chips all in the morning. And if you really wanna, you can go back on the road. Get your legs go. And if you really got it, you can push your chips all in the morning. And if you really wanna, you can go back on the road.
Pan this one to the left,
And if you really got it, you can push your chips.
and pan this one to the right.
And if you really wanna, you can go back on the road. Get your legs go. And if you really got it, you can push your chips.
Okay, and then one last thing here that I'm considering doing is I'll take this lead that I created, and I'm going to simplify the effects on it. I'm doubling it. We're going to keep the auto-tune. We're going to keep some of this stuff. We're going to simplify some of this stuff on the back end of this chain, and we're going to see about adding in Little Altar Boy, which is a fun kind of harmonizing plugin. So you'll see what I'm working with here.
And if you really wanna, you can go back on the road. Let's go. And if you really gotta, you can push your chips.
That sounded pretty good.
And if you really wanna, you can go back on the road.
Take out some of the low end so it's not too boomy.
You can push your chips.
And now the lead, we're going to put a little bit to the right, and this one we'll put a little to the left. Let's see how it sounds together.
The road, let's go. And if you really got it, you can push your chips all in the morning. And if you really wanna, you can go back on the road. Get your legs go. And if you really got it, you can push your chips all in the morning.
Oh, this could be a good like outro. Duck out all of the main leads and just have this. Ooh, I like that a lot actually. I really like that. Okay. All right, cool. So now feeling like the vocals are in a pretty good spot. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to color them right there. And we're going to move on to the beat so we can make sure that we spruce it up to our liking. So I'm going to mute those vocals, and now we're just going to zoom in on the beat. And what I usually like to do is I'm going to identify all of the percussion elements, and we're going to bring those to the top, and we're going to prioritize those just to make sure that we can stand on our groove. So we're going to mute any non-percussive element, and we're going to bring all these percussive elements up to the top here. We got everything? Yep. All right, so it's these three, and here's the part where I identify the core groove and we spruce it up. So it's this. So this is the core groove. We want to separate the kick from the hi-hat and the snare. So what I do is I duplicate it. I'm going to take whichever kick sounds cleanest. They all sound very similar, so I'll just take this first one. The chat's alive. We got AIAF in the house. Welcome back. Happy to have you. Let me know how it's sounding. We're just getting started on the production. So we're at the part here where we are breaking apart this drum loop. So what I want to do now is I'm going to take one of these hi-hats in this empty space, because I'm going to use that and replace that first kick. Might not sound perfect. So what happens if I... Okay, that's all right. So we're going to shorten this kick. Okay, so now we got that. This is a very, very simple groove, so we don't need to go to the extent. I am curious what this little accent is here at the end, so I'm going to listen to that. I think it might be unnecessary, to be honest. So I think we might be able to keep it real simple here and just go with this. So if that's the case, I'm just going to shorten this loop, clean up any clips. So we got any clicks happening? A thing to do here is, since I took out the kick, I want to make sure that the low end's out. Obviously there's some snare here, but let's go ahead and just make sure that none of the low end is coming through now that we removed the kick. And maybe just for good measure, I'm going to add a little bit of a fader on all of these. A little too much there. So for these ones, I'm going to do a double crossfade here. And then for the end, a small one. And now we're cooking. So now we have the snare and the hi-hat groove with no kick in it. And now that's really good for, you know, something that I know that I'm going to do is I'm going to go to the gain, make sure it's in mono. Turn it up a little bit to compensate. We're going to go ahead and add iZotope trash. This is just a good saturating tool, so I'll go push-pull, and it'll just add a little bit of thump. And with something as simple as this, it's just hi-hat snare, I am going to see about waves smack attack. Now, it does what it says it does. So I'm going to go here to excitement for drums, tone it way back because it's just way too excited. But what I like about this is it really just adds some ferociousness to the kit. So before I did anything, we're working with this. And of course the kick was in here. And now after these simple changes, it's a lot cleaner, crisper, and punchier, which is exactly what I want. Those are good attributes for the main hi-hat and snare relationship. And now I'm looping out these kicks. So I took out the kicks from that And now you see that the kicks are by themselves over here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to just make sure that they're not clipping at the end, so I put a fade on the end. But you'll hear that the hi-hat is still bumping through. I don't want that, right? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually, I made life easier on myself. If you guys are producers, I recommend doing something similar. Is if you have a process that you always go to without fail, just create a project template that includes some of that where you're essentially accounting for processes that you are always commit to. And in this case, I have this without fail almost chain of effects that I put on my kicks. And so one of them is mono. Make sure that the kick is bumping through mono. Another one is this max bass plugin by Waves to put it kind of in an envelope. I want it to punch through a very particular part of the frequency. iZotope trash, push pull, like I mentioned, it really just adds a lot of punch on those louder transients. And smack attack, usually optional for the kick. Sometimes it's necessary, sometimes it's unnecessary. In this case, I kind of like it. And then I'll put the EQ. This is a personal preference thing. Is I'll take a little bit of the lowest out because I know that when the bass comes in, I don't want the kick and the bass to be competing. I want them to be coexisting. So that's what I'm doing here. All right, we're gonna turn it down a little bit now that it's punching louder. And oh yeah, and the last thing, of course, I don't want that hi-hat to be playing twice. That's how you get some weirdness in the mix. So for this kick, I'm taking out. And I might actually bring this EQ earlier in the chain so that these other effects are happening after the EQ. Okay, so then I was working with this before. And now I got this. A little bit cleaner. And now these two together. You know what I might do? I might experiment here. Sometimes this doesn't sound good, but I'm going to go ahead and shrink this kick note a little bit so it's quicker. That was too much. Oh, so I'm realizing now that this kick is delayed. There's either some swing or just some general delay on that. And we're gonna adjust that. Okay, so we're good with that. Very, very simple boom bap 4 on the floor-ish, or more kind of 2 on the floor. I digress. So now we're gonna loop this out and see what the next percussion element is. So real quick, before bringing that in, yeah, so there was just, as we can tell, there's a lot of swing on this loop, which is not bad. But now that I've taken the swing out of the kick, I almost feel like the kick and the groove of this hi-hat is not fully meshing. So I'm going to do something maybe a little janky, and let's just see if it works. So go easy on me if it doesn't. So I'm simply going to push the whole thing a little forward. If it sounds better, don't ask questions. So I think that actually helps a little bit. Now let's bring this in. Yeah, I can already tell. Now this little hi-hat is sounding a little better. So what I'm gonna do here with the shaker, I'm gonna put it mono, and I'm gonna pan it to a side to just give it a little bit of space in the mix, a place to call home. And I want it to be brighter, so you can do a lot of different things to make something brighter. I like this mild excitement saturation. If you're using Logic, you could also just use this exciter right here and add silver. So you bring it over one, and then you bring the harmonics down a little bit, and you could tell it's just a little brighter. If you're looking for something to shine through on the high end. So which do I like better, that or trash? I'll just keep trash. I don't like that little artifact that plays too. All right, and we're gonna move on. Okay, so when I brought this one in, I was conscious that I didn't like the whole thing. What I just like is how it helps the clap. So I just gotta find the right one. I think that one right there is plenty good. So I'm gonna hone in on this one, and I'm just going to take this clap and let's go ahead and map it across on top of the snares. And I want to make sure that it's pretty close to hitting right when the snare is hitting, so as to not complicate the groove. Okay, so we'll take that. We're going to double that. Turn it up a little bit. Yeah, so here I do want this to punch through, so I'm going to go to the smack attack. Excitement for drums. Much better. Let's make it mono. I mention it every stream, but the reason why I err on the side of mono with the drums is because everything, if done well, your drum should be able to smack in mono. And it gives your vocals and the musical elements on top of it so much more space to breathe when you want to pan left and right, if your drums are not competing for that range. Okay, so I'm feeling good about that. Now we're gonna bring that out here. Okay, so we're starting to have an identity with this groove. Now, okay, so now we are feeling pretty good about the groove, and then once we have the groove figured out, the next thing I do with these samples is I identify the one that I want to drive the rest of the song on, or at least I'm inspired to build the next section around. So let's see. And then I'll play around with each one as I go and see which one just calls me. So this one immediately I'm thinking bring down an octave. So I'm going to see what it sounds like an octave down. And then I'm going to put a filter on this. I don't want it to dominate the whole frequency of the song, so I'm gonna tuck it on the high end. It's already sounding better. Something I like to do when I filter is I'll put it on a both high pass and low pass filter, and I'll just identify the frequency that where the sample is punching through the most, and then at least then I know the sweet spot for the sample, at least what frequencies do I value the most. So in this case, I like this higher range and I like this lower range. So now knowing that, I'm gonna come back and I wanna make sure I don't remove too much of either. But at the same time, I know that my vocals are going to be in there, so something I'm always doing to get ahead of myself, two things, is even if I don't hear it right off the bat, I'm going to take some of the low end out to account for the bass that's eventually going to come in. Careful not to mutilate the sample too much to essentially make it too thin, but I do want to account for the bass eventually coming in and taking over this lower end. And now, also similarly, this mid-high, I almost always duck the mid-high on some of these, like, you know, kind of sustaining musical components, because that's where the vocals are going to sit. So while I'm playing it by itself, it's like, oh yeah, there's no issue with, you know, having this be really loud. But I know that when the vocals come in, if that's really loud in the mid-high, then all of a sudden it's going to sound busy and messy. So we're going to take some of that out. And yes, we're going to check the imaging of this to see if it can be any narrower or yeah, so that's mono. Okay. Yeah, we'll keep a little bit of imaging with this, and then iZotope trash, I'll put delicate harmonics that usually just brings up and livens up and makes a little brighter melodic based element. So okay, so now we started with this, but of course an octave up from where we have it. Filter, EQ, imaging, trash, and now we're with this. And now we're really cooking. So now let's advance to the next element. A fun fun little groove we're working with here. Bring it down an octave, see how that lifestyle is. Maybe simplify it, just keep it like that. Maybe mono. Yeah, we're going mono. We're gonna pan it a little to the left. Delicate harmonics. And I'm curious of two things. Number one, will this do with kind of softening the sample with this filter? I think the answer is yes. Another thing is it too prominent in the low of the mix? I think the answer is slightly. So we're going here, we're ducking a little bit of that, honoring that mid-high and ducking that a little bit too. Okay, and the next thing that I'm curious about is should we change the texture altogether using the spectral gate? Sometimes these presets just put it in a different stratosphere. Okay, that's kind of cool. I'm going to keep thumbing around real quick. Sometimes these do this interesting effect of putting it underwater, but in space at the same time. Okay. Okay. Now that we've broken it down, let's just build it up a little bit with this MV2 where it can kind of bring up the low end a little bit. And I'm still hearing some boominess on the low end, of course, because we brought it down an octave. So just to double back, I'm going to make sure it's not going to be competing too much with the bass that comes in, and yes, with the kick. So the kick, I'm going to go right here. This yellow one's to give the kick a little bit more breathing room, a little bit more living space. So one could argue when I'm listening to this and soloed out that I've removed some important frequencies, but I doubt that at any point in this demo this specific sound is going to be playing by itself. It's almost always going to be playing with these other things. So I care more about how it coexists than how it sounds isolated. So now just to sanity check. Okay, so what I might just do, I'm hearing a little bit of overdriven sound coming through, so I'm going to put a compressor earlier in the chain, and I'm going to make sure that it's not punching over a certain amount, so I'm going to put a pretty strong compression. Okay. Compensate with a little gain. All right. And now okay, sounded pretty good. What else we got? All right, this probably will be too low, an octave down. Never mind. That goes. So I want to simplify it, I think. So I'm gonna remove the second note, and let's stretch. And let's stretch. Yeah. Okay. Now we're gonna go filter freak on this, because I don't want just that super clean piano. I want the chords, but I want it to be a little more mysterious. And again, we are taking out, but very careful here. We don't want to take out too much, but we do need to take out some of that low. So, and the mid-high. And if you're accounting for your vocals or someone else's vocals, you just have to imagine where that's going to sit in the mix. So I know I'm in the mid-high most likely. I have some friends with lower, deeper voices. They might be more in the mid-range, and then you would, if you're making a beat for them or if you're working with them, you might need to be more conscious about ducking the mids. So just know yourself and know what elements you're bringing in. I know I'm going to bring in the vocals. I know I'm going to bring in some bass. So I'm just making space for them. And per usual, I'm going to check the imaging to make sure it's sitting in a space range-wise here in the width of the mix. Okay. And I'll bring that MV2 again. Now that I've removed some, I need to bring some back. And bringing it back actually allows me now to take even more off the filter. Now, last thing I'll check, can we give it, hold the phone. Have I not saved this project yet? Shame on me. Okay. Unbelievable. All right, so I'm going to just save this real quick now that we're at a spot where I feel good about it. Let's say off the stoop. Okay, so now we got that saved. Let's keep pushing. Now, as I was about to do, I'm bringing in this little radiator to see if we can add any sort of additional texture to this. Just a little bit. So we were working with this and an octave up. Yeah, just for exemplification here, I will just show. So this is what we were working with. Of course, we took out a note. And now, after bringing it down an octave, removing a note, stretching the rest out, and putting in these effects, we got this. Okay. And last. Octave down. Alright, so I really hate that note that plays right there, so I'm just going to take this section and double it. Alright, so this one, I might go spectral gate. This crunchy bandpass one is interesting if you really just want like a telephoned out like radio version of just the high end of what you're playing with. Sometimes this is good if you're working with a really, really chaotic sample, but there's just something really nice about the melody, but you don't want to have to take and use the entire sample. I'll use this stock Spectral Gate Logic plugin, and then I'll go to one of these presets, but in this case, Crunchy Bandpass, and it'll give me a radioed out version. And then I'll adjust to taste. That sounded pretty cool. Okay, so what else can we do here? Yeah, and I think what I'll do again is I will go to Filter Freak, duck it, I'm thinking on this one I will add a little bit of space. So this sound here, I'm going to go to Random Ambler. I'm going to put the width pretty narrow so it's not going all over the place. And I'll make the soothing soft so it's moving delicately left to right. And I'll offset it to the left so that this thing is having a little bit of space back and forth behind, so it adds a little bit of motion. Okay. So now we completely muted what we started with as the main thing. So it's almost, I think that we have a couple different sections that we're going to be able to work with here. And so I'll take this, I'll run it out, and just start to get ahead of myself a little bit on arrangement. Okay, and now, at long last, I gotta add some bass. We're in D minor. And we'll start with this beginning part. Maybe here. And we'll build the bass out. Okay. Just find a simple bass. The drums. The drums are simple. Start with this. Velocity all the way up. So I'm gonna artificially add a little bit of human touch with these bass elements. I'm just gonna kind of move them left and right a little bit so they mesh up with the drums and the percussion. Okay. So, sounding pretty good. Could always spend all day sprucing up the bass, but what I'm gonna do here is just simply make it fulfill its purpose, make it a little bit punchier. So I'm gonna go here and add this log drum, and I'm gonna go up an octave. I'm gonna enable these effects. Tone it back a little bit. Okay. And can't forget this main bass. Let's see about adding in some of our favorite effects. So low ender just adds a lot of thunder to the down under, if you will. And max space, check, little radiator. Okay. And now, yeah, let's see if there's any additional elements we can add to the drums. Yeah. Okay, so we're just going to take that little part right there. Boom, boom, boom. Boom, 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 boom. So in this case, I'm going to quantize, but not to 100%, I don't think. I'm going to quantize to maybe 50%. Except for that first note. That first note's getting right on the downbeat. And I may actually bring this one, the second one, back a little bit. Now, I may be crazy, but I'm going to bounce that in place. I'm going to see about bringing it down a couple octaves, or a couple semitones. Alright, so then if I loop that out, turn it down a little, keep going. Yeah, sometimes these hi-hats they're just adding some oomph, some emphasis on certain notes. They don't necessarily need to be like its own rhythm. So I'm just gonna. Okay, now let's quantize that again. Yeah, maybe that's right on the downbeat. Almost on the downbeat. Okay. Yep, add a little clap. Quantize. Bounce. Loop. iZotope. Rather. Smack attack. Excitement for drums. Tone it back. Maybe exciter. Okay. Feeling good. Now, last thing I'll see. Maybe any toms. Just looking for some good toms. Okay, that might work. That might work for our purposes right here. Okay, so. Maybe even some filter freak on that so it's not as snary. Don't usually do this, but let's try it. And now, trash. You know, maybe there's a better drum sound there, but I think that works for filling the void. Okay, and we're in a pretty good spot now with this beat. Maybe it's time.
If you
ground. gonna rock with that. Let's see if we can comp. There. We're almost there, and then we're gonna send this thing spacely. Last one, here we go. Yeah, that's gonna work for now. That's gonna work for now. And now we're gonna go crazy. Okay. Uh-oh. Backgrounds. I don't know what's coming, but I know it's gonna be electric. on the end. One second. I gotta give myself a little bit of space at the end to make sure that we can keep rocking. So what I'm doing is I'm extending this. Here we go. And maybe I'm gonna try to get ahead of myself. I'm gonna bring over some of these background ad-libs. Maybe they're gonna play a part in the outro. Just maybe. So let's see.
If you wanna, if you gotta, don't you wish you could see?
Okay. All right.
Okay. Let's cook with that.
Let's cook with that.
One more time.
Okay. I'm gonna pan left and right this layer we just laid. Okay, so now we're going to arrange it a little bit. It's really feeling good. So we're just going to play it through. Trying to make some space at these transitions. Okay, so while I'm arranging, I'm gonna go ahead and put on the master bus. Ozone 8. And we're just gonna master while we're arranging, kill two birds. So we're gonna go ahead and check out the compression of the bass. Feeling pretty strong right there. Might need to bring that up, the ratio stronger, so we can tuck that bass a little bit. Now we got this here. All right, now we're gonna make the bass pretty close to mono. We're gonna make the low more narrow, just to make space for the high. There we go. I'm loving that low layer right here. Love that. Love that. All right, now we're just gonna see if there's any other transitions. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, all right. Okay. So, feeling real good. So, what we're going to do, like we do every single stream, is we are going to play it start to finish, hear what we made, and we're going to head out the door. So, let's go ahead without further ado and bump this one time proper, no interruptions. Sheesh. Yep, I think that passes the vibe check. Really liking it. It's some soulful hip hop with a little bit of experimental spaciousness coming to you straight from the effects on the vocals. Very much kind of feeling yourself a little psychedelic, but it's really just staying true to some classic hip hop flavor, but putting in some interesting effects on the vocals to really send it into a place maybe we haven't been before. So that does it. Really appreciate every one of you guys for hanging out with us this stream. Link in the description if you want to listen to this demo and every other demo we've made in the series. If you got something from today's session, the best thing you could do for us, simply hit a like, comment, subscribe, hit the bell so you get notified as soon as we go live next time. Our music is live on all platforms. Just search 6 Foot Pigeons, and we'll be doing this weekly. So far, it's been about every day on weekdays. So if you got any suggestions, requests, just drop them in the comments, and we look forward to seeing you on the next stream. Peace out.